Well, good evening. Well, we've had a big few days here. I'll move my coke out of the way. Excuse me. I went down the wrong pipe. Hold on. Okay, I got control of myself again. Well, it's been an interesting few days. Big news is this: a state senate seat in Texas went Democrat. Now, this seat was normally in a lean red district, not solid red, a lean red. It went 5%. The last Republicans that won it in 2022 and then in 2018 won it by 5% in 22 and by 8% in 18. So it leaned red, but it went 14 points to the Democrat this time. That is a 22 point, or let's say roughly 20 point swing from Republicans to Democrats. That is huge. That is huge. But it really kind of should have been expected. And the reason why is because of this. I think about if you watched on Friday, you will have seen this. And that is this. This is from the Economist YouGov. Economist YouGov is very accurate. It's one of the top polling agencies in the world. They do a phenomenal job. They called Trump last year, so they tend to get things right. But let me show you what's going on. Down here's Texas. Let me pull that up. Okay, here's Texas. Notice that the net approval rate is Trump by anti-Trump by 17%. It goes 70% against Trump. In this particular map, red does not mean Republican. In this, red means disapproval of Trump. Black means approval of Trump. So it's a red and black, not a. So don't interpret the red here meaning Republican. Here it's the other way around, actually. So if this is 70%, that means that swing towards the Democrat in this particular race was about spot on. So if that's the case, if basically all of Texas has gone 70% against Trump, that means that we could expect the Democrat, whether it's Jasmine Crockett or Tellerico, opposing Cronin, that whoever it is will win. Now, what does that mean for the Senate? Let's take a look at that. What I did is I mapped all of these percentages onto the Senate map, and everywhere it's red here, which means like here Illinois it means minus 32 against Trump. Minnesota minus 21.9 against Trump. So I took all these results here and I mapped it onto the Senate races, and using this to declare whether that seat was going to go Republican or Democrat. And red on here would mean going Democrat. Black or gray on here would mean going Republican. So let's take a look at what that means. That comes up with this map. 59 seats. That would be a 12 seat gain. Now, to give you an idea what that means, here, let me do real quick. 1932 race. 1932 Senate race results. And yeah, there we go. Then we got to bring up Wikipedia here. And I think, does that come up on here? Yeah, okay, here's Wikipedia. So in 1932, they went from see, this is the 1932 elections. Okay, 32, and they went from 47 seats to 59. W12. That's basically what's being predicted here. 12 seats. So that'd be a seat change of 12. That was and we all know what happened in in 1932. I hope. In 1932, that was known as the Big Realignment. That was because what happened is that the United States was basically a Republican country from the Civil War. There was some Democratic senators like Woodrow Wilson, but most are Republican. And in 1932, that shifted. And after that, we were a Democrat government basically until Reagan. There were some Republicans, like Eisenhower and Nixon were the two, but Eisenhower and Nixon were both progressive in many ways. Like under Eisenhower, that's when we had very progressive. Tax rates with 90% tax rate on the super rich, and it was Nixon that created the EPA, which is considered to be a fairly progressive institution. So we didn't really change, or the Republican Party, I should say, didn't really change until under Reagan. That's when it started moving away from progressives. And they kicked all the progressives out, like the Rockefellers and so forth. So anyway, this election coming this year, I believe, is a realignment election. I believe this is going to set a new direction for the whole country for the next generation. That's what I think is going to happen anyway. Okay, I've been wrong, so cut me some slack. But that's my analysis. That's how I and I do a number of things to analyze this. But one of the things I've determined is I'm calling this the betrayal realignment. Why betrayal? Well, it's very simple. You could see it. Trump couldn't have done more to hurt the Republican Party than if he tried to. All of his policies seem designed to hurt rural Republicans. His tariffs hurt the farmers. His gathering up all of the migrant workers hurt the farmers. His mucking around with tariffs and other things, and his invasion of Canada talk has gotten Canada to boycott the United States. So they're not coming to Texas. They're not coming to Nevada. They're not going to Florida. The snowbirds are staying up and staying home with the snow. They're not coming down to the United States now. So it's serious. It's not. It's not light. And then the border areas like Montana and Maine, where they would get actually a lot of Canadians coming down there to those states for shopping and other things and for recreation, they're not coming. They're in serious trouble because of that. They're losing a lot of money, and because of Trump. So Trump is then we had the booze boycott, which is really hitting Kentucky. And actually, I was kind of surprised to see Kentucky still lean towards Trump on that approval rating, according to YouGov poll. Kentucky still has had like 2%, so not real big. And actually, talking about that, let's take a look at that again. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, you remember this? Okay, we got 59 seats, but look at these states: Montana, South Dakota, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee, and Kentucky. They're all light pink. The reason why they're light pink, if we go back to this, here we have these light gray states. That means they're barely for Trump. Utah, Trump's net approval is only 1.6%. That's dangerously close to flipping the other way. Montana, 4.9%. Little better for Trump, but not that much. South Dakota, look at this. South Dakota, 0.4% leaning towards Trump. That can go to the Democrats real easy. Kentucky, 1.9% towards Trump. Again, that's real narrow. That probably is within the margin of error for that poll. Even Alabama, 2.9% for Trump. That's real close to going for the Democrats. Notice Mississippi at 6.9% net approval, minus 6.9. That means that is going. This YouGov poll has Mississippi going towards the Democrats, which I think is pretty amazing. I don't think of Mississippi as being, Democrat country. So, there you go. And we have Florida down here. That would be Ashley Moody's seat. So this has, so this has the 59. But if we take all these seats, let's assume that between now and November, Trump continues to fall down, to continue down in his downward spiral, and let's assume that all these states flip towards the blue. This would be a worst case scenario. This would be the Democrats running the table, which is very unlikely. But let's look at what that worst case scenario for the Republicans would look like. That would mean Oklahoma going blue, Montana going blue, South blue, hello, there we go, and South Dakota going blue, and Kentucky going blue, and Tennessee going blue, Arkansas going blue, Alabama going blue. Well, only we'd have left to be Idaho, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Let's take a look at that. Here we have Idaho at 31 percentage points for Trump. Wyoming, 23.7% for Trump. And then we have West Virginia, 16.9% for Trump. So these three states are solid Trump states. Even Tennessee is 6.6%. So I took all those seats and assumed that all these very narrow, these seats with the very narrow Trump approval would flip. If that happens, perchance, if that happened, that would give the Democrats 66 seats. Holy crap. Can that happen? Yeah, it's within the realm of possibility. I would nowhere near expect that. Like I said, that would require all the stars being aligned and everything just going just right. And then that would also mean let's go. Let me come back on screen here. Okay, that should be coming back online. Come on. Okay. Like I said, I doubt if that would happen. Like I said, that would require the Democrats running the table. There's also something else going on that I'm sure if you've been a Democrat voter for very long, you understand the Democrat tradition. It's almost a tradition. They have this record of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. When they should win, they lose. I mean, the most egregious examples were last year when Kamala Harris, that looked like that should have been a gimme. Well, it wasn't. 2016, when with Hillary Clinton, that looked like a gimme, and it wasn't. The Democrats found a way to lose. Like both Kamala Harris and Hillary did something that no politician should ever do, and that is start running victory laps before the election's in. They were acting like they won it before they won it, and that's absurd. You can't do that. But Democrats tend to do stupid things like that. Things where they violate politics 101. You just don't do stupid things like that. So will some Democrats do stupid things and lose races they should have won? Yeah, I expect that. So would they ever get? Although my little demonstration here showed that they have a path, they have a possible path of getting 67 seats, but I think that that is extraordinarily unlikely. But I do believe that my prediction of 58 seats is very, very doable. See, what do I have on here that I shouldn't have? Montana, South Carolina. 59, and there's one more. Tennessee. There we go. This is my prediction, 58 seats. I don't think we're going to win Montana. I don't think we're going to win South Dakota, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, or South Carolina, or West Virginia. These other ones I do. Oddly enough, I feel very confident now that the Democrats are going to take Louisiana. Not mean that to be I would going to put that, if I was going to color it, I would color it that color. Not the solid blue like in Illinois or in Oregon or Massachusetts, but the next level down. And that's where I'd put Texas. Florida, I'd put that similarly. And Florida, I have, again, Silver and Cook and Let's Talk Elections. They're not following things the way I follow them. In Florida, if the Miami mayor race, which was a 60-point swing to the Democrats, showed that the Republicans have lost the Cuban American vote, and if you lose the Cuban American vote, you lost. Now they have a very slim chance of winning Florida without the Cuban American vote, and because of the disaster of tourism and other things that the Republicans have done in Florida, I don't see Ashley Moody having a snowball's chance in hell of getting reelected in Florida. That's just not going to happen. Meanwhile, in Louisiana, that is where Cassidy, if Cassidy was still going to run, I think that then I would have to tilt it to the Republicans. But because the Republicans have now switched that to a closed primary system, I don't see Cassidy surviving the closed primary in Louisiana. And therefore, a very right-wing Trumper is going to oppose, is going to now try and retain that Republican seat, and I think they're going to lose. So I put Louisiana at a very likelihood lose, not tilt. Not lean. I'd put it towards tilt, Louisiana. And Iowa, I really should put that as tilt, not lean. Nebraska and Kansas, I have them as lean. Ohio as a lean. Michigan is a tilt. Texas now is a tilt. Arkansas, Alaska, I have them as a tilt. Maybe that's too aggressive. Maybe a lean is better. But all these other ones, I think the Democrats are going to take them quite easily. So I think the Democrats are going to be 58 seats. 2 months ago, I had them at 56 seats. But because of recent developments, and the recent developments mostly caused by Trump's ICE thugs, beating people up, killing people, kidnapping children, things that most Americans don't particularly like. Some MAGA people seem to like that, but most Americans don't. And they're turning on Trump because of that. So this is what I expect. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean if the Democrats get this 58 seat, 57 seat, 59 seats, 60 seats, whatever the amount they get, if it's high like that, we're going to see a huge change in government. But again, don't know, because right now the Democrat leadership right now is so feckless. They're just so weak. I mean, right now there's only two Democrats outside of Minnesota itself. There's two Democrat leaders outside of Minnesota that have gone to Minnesota. One is Joaquin Castro from Texas, and one is Jasmine Crockett from Texas. The Democrats in Texas are fighters, and I'm glad to see that. Meanwhile, Schumer in the Senate and Jeffries in the House, they're cowards. They're feckless cowards. They are not going to lead anybody anywhere. They don't want to go anywhere. The only place they're going is the toilet, because they don't want to get out in public. They're not leading. A Democratic leader right now would get out in public. They would go to Portland. They would go to Minneapolis. They'd go to Chicago. They'd go to these states and cities where ICE is showing up and terrorizing the people. They'd be out there on the front lines with the people. Right now, the people feel abandoned and ignored by the Democratic leadership. Why is that? Well, because they're abandoning them and ignoring them. Duh. What else? That's why they feel that way. They are being abandoned. They are being ignored. Jeffries and Schumer are doing nothing to try to really stop ICE. They voted to support, to fund them, for crying out loud. Oh, they made a deal. Ooh, Schumer made a deal. And on paper, that deal doesn't sound too bad. Except one little itty bitty problem. If you've been watching what's been going on for the past 15, 20 years, every time the Democrats make a deal with the Republicans don't keep up their part of it. They throw their end of the bargain out. Then meanwhile, they hold the Democrats, they hold their feet to the flame. But Republicans, they don't bother with any agreements or deals. But meanwhile, the Democrats keep on going back. Oh, let's make a deal. Let's trade here. Let's, I'll give you this, you give me that. Okay, we got a deal. Wonderful. Good deal. And then they get taken to the cleaners again. How many times does that have to happen before the Democrats to learn their frickin' lesson? There's an old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Well, what about like shame me for 11 times or shame me for 18 times? How many times do the Democrats have to be screwed on deals for them to understand that making a deal with Republicans is absolutely pointless and stupid? But Jeffries and Schumer and everybody that follow them keep on doing it time after time after time after time. They gotta go. They have to go. They are cowards. They refuse to fight. We do not need people like them in Congress. They're not going to fight for you. Not at all. They're not fighters. They're deal makers. Ugh. They make me kind of sick. I think that may have come across a little bit. And I don't mean to rant like this. I like to maintain an intellectual calmness and an analytical level, but what they're doing, I mean, they are cooperating with the Nazis. They're cooperating with the fascists. And if you cooperate with the fascists, you are a fascist. So Jeffries and Schumer are cooperating. They're enabling them. They're enabling them. They may not be supplying them the drugs, but they're giving them the hallway to shoot up. Schumer and Jeffries turned my stomach. They've got to go. The entire Democratic leadership in the House and the Senate have to go. They need to be they need to be replaced in their seats of authority because they are doing nothing except enabling Trump. They're enabling Trump to ignore the Constitution. Right now, we do not have a Constitution. We don't have a functioning Constitution. It is just a piece of paper sitting in a case somewhere in Washington, D.C. It's no longer a functioning piece of American governance. The Supreme Court doesn't follow it. Why should it? I'm going to give you, for instance, the Second Amendment. The third word in the Second Amendment is regulated. And yet, they say we can't regulate guns. Nobody can regulate guns. The state can't regulate guns. Cities can't regulate guns. Oh, and the federal government can't regulate guns. So now it's totally legal in many states for a 6-year-old child to buy a gun. And why not? Everybody can. Why not everybody having artillery and RPGs and tanks, 50 caliber machine guns? Why not? Why make it all legal? Hell, I'll have a nuclear weapon in my backyard. Why not? It's like what the heck? The third word in the Second Amendment is regulated, and yet the Supreme Court somehow interprets that it shouldn't be regulated. Hello. How is that? Well, that's because they do not want the Constitution. The Supreme Court is trying to destroy the Constitution. And why? Because that's their job. That's what they were put there for by the Republicans. And the Democrats let them do it. Why? Because the Democrats didn't fight. Why? Because they don't know how to fight. They're cowards. Well, that's my rant for the day. I actually meant every word I said because it's all, in my opinion, it's all true. It's kind of sad, but I actually am optimistic. Come November. There's going to be anywhere from 60 to 100 new Democrats in the House of Representatives, and they've come from the streets. They'll have come from Minneapolis and Portland and Chicago and other places where ICE have done their terror. They're not going to come in to make deals. At least I hope not. And I hope that when they come in, they get rid of Jeffries. And meanwhile, in the Senate, we're going to have 8, 9, 10, 12 new Democrats in there. And I hope that they kick Schumer and his entire gang out of the leadership of the Democratic Party in Congress, in the Senate. They don't deserve their positions of power. Because they've done nothing with them. They've done nothing to protect the country. They've done nothing to protect the citizenry. I mean, we have Renee Nicole Good murdered. We have Alex Preddy. He was executed. They took his gun away from him. They pinned him to the ground, immobilized him, and then 2 men shot him. Dead. That's an execution. That's not a mere murder. That's an execution. And that's what ICE did. And what are the Democrats doing about that? Nothing. Oh, they may be doing some procedural things in Congress. Oh, goody goody. But they're not even mentioning their horror of that to the press. They should be in front of the cameras every day condemning Trump and condemning the Republicans. Instead, they make deals. Ooh. I don't know. I have to stop this because my stomach's beginning to turn. And I don't feel good. So anyway, so I'm going to stop that. Okay. Meanwhile, back to the thing is I'm optimistic that next year, in November, the world is going to change. The world's going to change for the United States. It's going to be a new day in town, a new day after the dawn, and I cannot wait for it. Anyway, with that, I'm going to let you go. Meanwhile, let's let you know I do this every weekday night about 9 p.m. So come on board. Watch me, come here every night at 9 p.m. and we'll have some fun. Anyway, hope you enjoy this. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, let me take a look at this. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna let you go. I'll be here every weeknight about 9 p.m. and hope to see you again. Thanks a lot.